What about some of the things you see, Paul, as far as like plumbing is concerned, that can be, things that owners should be sensitive to? Like if rust build up on your hot water heater, is that something to be concerned about, or mineral buildup? You see that quite a bit. So.
It can. That's evidence of a leak. It doesn't necessarily. The more corrosion you get on those fittings, usually the less likely it'll leak because it's already built up around it.
Interesting.
But I would say that it is indicative of a past leak, so you should probably get it looked at. One of the things we see in crawl spaces quite a bit is plumbing leaks from the bathrooms, the tub drains, those types of things. And what it does, it gets to the floorboards. And as it starts dripping on the floorboards, you think, well, it's just a little bit of water. Water and wood takes time to get wood rot, to get those types of things. But mold will start to grow. I've seen a lot of homes that have a drip in the bathroom, and then the floor starts getting real soft. You ever see that?
Yeah, I have.
When you go underneath and look at it, and you're like, well, I can't even believe it held me when I was standing up there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think I'll go to the crawl space first, see what parts of the house are safe. Because I've had some that the whole thing looks just like it's been wet for years.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. So if you have an issue in your plumbing, get it looked at immediately.
Yeah. Well, what is like, let's just say you have a house and you have no idea that your shower pan's leaking. I mean, should you is it once a year, once every couple of years? Should you have
to get in the crawl space?
Yeah, get down there and take a look.
Once a year, twice a year.
Just get down there and kind of poke around a bit, or maybe hire someone to come down, or
well, you can go and
don't call me on that.
If you have a problem, call somebody.
Yeah.
But the best thing to do is to take a look under there, see if the other thing we've talked about is water next to the foundation. So when you go in the crawl space, not only look for plumbing leaks, but look for if you're watering close to your house, that water will continue to, water finds the path of least resistance, just like anything else. So it'll go right down that foundation wall where the soil is touching the foundation wall. It'll just go down there, and then we'll try to go into the concrete blocks.
So like all the landscaping you put in next to your house, all the shrubs, the bushes, the grass. So when you did, Aspen, you redid your yard, but you did your planters out against your fence.
Mm-hmm. We have concrete around our house, and then we have rocks. We don't have any in our front yard. We have 3 shrubs right on the house, but they don't require watering. So we don't have any water near the house. One thing I was going to mention is, because at this house, I've had some water issues more so than at some of the other houses I've had. But even if you have, water is something you can kind of hear. If something sounds weird, that's whenever I think you should kind of start looking into it. I had a loose water spigot on the front of my house. And whenever we turned it on, water was still coming out of the hose, but I could hear it going back into the crawl space. So we got someone out there, and it was an easy, cheap fix, but it could have been a really expensive, big problem later down the line. So just listening if something sounds weird. We had the same thing at one of our rentals. It sounded like a shower was kind of going back into the wall, and it was. So if you kind of just hear something off, just get someone out there to check it and just address it right away.
Yeah.
It does makes it a lot easier.
It's taken me a lot of years to listen to my wife. Because she's usually right. And so I'm like, I'm a slow learner. What can I say? But anyways, she's always like, hey, I hear something. I'm like, really? No. And so when we first got married, it was like, there's something leaking. I'm like, no. The next morning I go out and our tile's all soaked. And sure enough, the thing leaked in the back. Then she's like, I hear a hissing, and I'm like, what? No. And then there's, something happens and there's another plumbing leak. Then she's like, I smell gas. I'm like, okay, we're calling the fire department right now. So after a few of those, I started learning, but we had this, I think hearing is important because in our house now, she's like, I hear this dripping. And I'm like, really? So now I'm attuned to what she said. I'm like, okay, really? Let's snake this out. And sure enough, we had dripping into our gas log fireplace. And I'm like, that's not normal. We shouldn't have dripping there. Well, come to find out, we had a roofer that was up there, but we had some side blowing rain, which is really unusual. And that got underneath the cap of that vent and was dripping water. But we heard it and we knew. And so we listened for the next rain. Didn't happen again. But I think you can hear those. I mean,
I think you
sense
can
it
too.
out.
Yeah. I like a really quiet house too. Like if the kids aren't home, Bryson's home. So I feel like I can really hear. We had a roof leak and I could hear it dripping, just like hitting our wood floor. And I was like, that's how I've caught most of the leaks. We did have one leak when we first moved in. My daughter took a shower and first day we moved in. And I look up in my bedroom because her room's right above and water is just pouring out of our light.
Yeah.
Our light socket. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was just same thing, just a loose fitting. Things just get loose. And then it was easy, quick fix. But
one of the things that we see the most of is houses with evaporative coolers.
I was about to say the roof.
And and like I said, water and time is what's going to deteriorate the decking on the roof. So if you allow your swamp cooler to leak or overflow and leak out all year, you're going to end up needing to replace shingles, decking, all that stuff. And that's probably the thing that we see the most water damage in homes is from swamp coolers.
Swamp cooler. So the swamp cooler sits up there. And for those who aren't familiar with the swamp cooler, it's basically a box with a blower in there. And then they have these, what they call spider lines that go up and they wet these pads down and the water kind of trickles into a pan. And in order to stop it from overflowing, they have a float. And that float will rise up and it'll stop the water. Well, oftentimes those things become rusted and they get stuck in position. So it just continues to cycle the water through. And that's what you're talking about, right, Paul? So then it overflows onto your roof and it may not be a lot of water. It's just kind of a constant drop or drip or.
Yeah. Well, in the way shingle roofs, and usually it's on the shingle roof that this happens. So the shingles, they overlap each other like that.
Yeah.
But if they stay wet the entire time, they start wicking back and they'll get to the underlayment of the roof. And that's where you start to get the damage.
The water climbs up the cellulose fibers.
Whoa.
What's that process called?
I don't know.
Capillarity.
Okay.
Capillarity. Dang. Shannon.
We're not worried.
Let's just be
They're way
quiet.
smarter than we are.
Let's just remain quiet and stare. People think you're smarter when you don't talk.
Right.
Yeah. So I talk too much.
I should try that. Just not talk for a little bit.
Then they think you're mad.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Can't win.
Nope. The RBF. You got the RBF.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't help it. It's just my face.
Something else to think about with the flooding and natural water that we have outside is, we think about what it's going to do to the house, but we also don't really think about what it's going to do to the grounds outside. You start getting areas that get washed away, or you start getting, landscape and stuff that's getting weaker. And that's when you start finding trees that'll fall over and stuff. So you sometimes end up with some secondary things where the water didn't really hurt the house, but the water caused issues on the property that could be some serious damage.
Yeah. So living out on the ranch, Shannon, what are you doing to prevent water, or what are some of the issues that come up out there living more rural?
Well, we have an arroyo that goes right down the side of our house. And we've only had last year when we had that really bad storm that we really had any issues around there. But because it just took out so many trees down there and then it got clogged and it was going everywhere. We were lucky though. Our house kind of sits a little bit higher than everything. So, when you walk out, everything kind of goes down. So the house was fine. The only problem was I went out to show property that day and I leave my back door open for my dogs. And that you were talking about the sideways rain. We literally had rain that went sideways. And when I got home, it had, I don't even know how it did it because we even have an overhang on the patio. So for some reason it was able to sideways just come all into my house, which was insane. But we've got the French drains too. And I noticed yesterday, cause one of them I could tell was clogged. And I noticed yesterday, that the ground just out by the chickens had just blown out. The pipe is sitting there and it's a huge blown out area. So it had rained so much. It finally just cleaned it out, which thank goodness it did. We don't really take any precautions. The animals have shelter and, the hayfield looks great right now. It's getting a lot of rain. So that's good. And we're not having to irrigate. The house is a little bit higher than everything. I feel like we're pretty established and we haven't really had big issues where we're at. We do have some large trees in our yard, but they don't seem to be they're so large that they kind of canopy the roots. They kind of canopy the actual lawn underneath up against the house.
Mhm.
So it's not really wet there. It's wet everywhere around the house.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Right there is dry. So I haven't really worried about the trees. We just really haven't had a whole lot of problems at our place, but it's a 70-year-old property. So,
Sure.
Obviously
It's weathered some.
well, it's been their family 70 years.
Yeah.
I should say it's probably older than that, but they've done things over the years that we don't really seem to be having any trouble. Thank goodness.
yeah, it's weathered
not.
some weather over
Yeah.
the years for sure.
If you keep up with maintenance too, stuff,
Yeah.
like if you put the systems in place and then keep up with maintenance, that's kind of what we're getting at the whole time with everything we say is just keep up with it, because then it doesn't become a big issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you don't,
if you're
keep up
doing
with
all
it,
the things
mhm.
that you're supposed to be doing to keep it diverted away from your house, you probably aren't going to have a big problem,
hmm
no matter how much rain comes down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't take a lot. It's just a little bit, over time, a little bit here, cleaning up there, noticing a low spot, filling that in or whatever else.